Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's been 1 year since I started this YouTube channel, and I have some thoughts about what's been going on. So first, let me introduce myself. If you are new here, hi, my name is Christina, and I am a genre-bending literary writer, and welcome to my channel. So I've been a little sick this month, so please forgive my voice. It's starting to go a little bit. This is actually my second time trying to record this video, but I kept coughing and then the camera stopped. It was a whole thing. So hopefully we could get through this without my voice completely dying on me. But I wanted to do a little reflection about what this year has been like and also do a little catch up because my last video was in the beginning of October. And I have been trying to go through the second revision of my novel, The Wild and the Dead. That's the title. And so far, we've been doing pretty well. Now, because I was sick, my goal was to add 10,000 words this month. I think I'm up to about 4,000, but the month is not over yet. It is the 27th. It is Monday the 27th. I have till Friday the 31st. So I'm going to try as hard as I can to add as many words as I can until Friday. But even if I don't make it, that just means I have to do extra in November because the goal is by December 31st or January 1st that we will have a 60,000 word revised book. Anything more than 60,000 words would be fantastic, but my goal is to add 10,000 words per month until the end of the year. Now, I did a little back of the envelope math and realized that I only need to do like 323 words or so every month in order to get that 10,000 words, which is totally doable. The problem, however, is when I got sick. So I got sick and I didn't write for like not quite a week. There were a few days that I did write, but I was only doing like 100 words or so before I had to stop. So I'm almost recovered now and I'm back on track. So we're just going to keep going to the end of the month and see how much we get. And if we go up short, then we just roll it into November's number. But that's what we're doing right now for this novel. Other than that, I feel really good about it. I feel like I'm still passionate about it. It still feels like something I want to keep working on. So that's what we're going to do. Also, I didn't want to skip over the fact that, I did a video talking about Submission September, and I did do a lot of submitting. So I have currently now 12 pieces out in circulation, including the essay that I wrote. I started it in August and kind of worked on it off and on through September and submitted it in early October when the journal opened up. And I also have three other short stories that are out in various places under simultaneous submission. That's how I got 12. Was some of them are in multiple journals, and you can do that if those journals say that simultaneous submission is okay. Some people I know just ignore whether or not it's okay from a journal and they will just do simultaneous submission. I'm not that kind of writer. I know that in all likelihood you're probably going to get rejected and you're not going to get caught, but I'd rather play it safe. Now, I will say that usually the places that don't allow simultaneous submission do get back fairly quickly. Like, a couple places, it's been like a week, maybe 2 weeks. So I don't mind that. I don't mind waiting a week or two if it's worth it. Also, if the place pays really well, like over $500, I will give them exclusive until they reject me, and then we'll send it out. But for places that are not paying or they're kind of just paying like a token payment, most of the time I find they are just fine with simultaneous submission. It's become much more normal, much more accepted. But I guess what I'm saying is do it at your own risk. If the journal says no and you do it anyways, you know, and that's kind of on you. So me, I'm cautious. I'm chicken. I will do exactly what the journal says. And honestly, most of the time the simultaneous is accepted, you know. It used to be a time where it wasn't, but I'm finding more and more that places are just okay with it, especially because some places their response time is like 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, 8 months. If I have to wait 8 months for a response, yeah, I want to do a simultaneous. Just saying. Okay, so let's talk about what it's been like to be on AuthorTube for a year. First of all, thank you to my small but mighty group of subscribers. I really appreciate y'all. I thought when I first started, maybe my mom would subscribe and that would be it. But no, like a few of you that I have no familial connection to have subscribed. So thank you for subscribing. I've had an interesting time doing AuthorTube. It's kind of reminds me of my blog, you know, where I just make content and it goes out into the world. It's kind of why my Substack is called Shout at the Abyss, because sometimes I feel like that's what I'm doing is I'm just shouting into this void of the internet. And it's very cool that there are a few people who are watching and want to know more about it, or they want to commune with me about their problems as a writer. AuthorTube is not really a place I found where there are people who are readers. It's more for folks who are also writers who want to connect. And in that way, I see AuthorTube as more of a networking thing, not necessarily a place for like fans and things like that. But needless to say, it can be both. There are people who are on AuthorTube. I'm a fan of their work. And I'm also, you know, wanting to get to know more writers. I mean, that's always a good thing. So being on YouTube for the past year has really been a unique experience and a good one. I haven't had any negative experiences from other AuthorTubers or even like people making comments or anything. I think it's because I'm still really small, you know, and if I ever get to be big, then maybe I'll get more pushback. But so far, it's been pretty chill. And, you know, basically I've just been making videos about stuff that interests me. And I would love to make a few more videos, kind of doing like literary festivals or book events and things like that. Next year in March, AWP is coming to Baltimore, which is not too far from me. And AWP, for those of you who don't know, stands for the Association of Writing Programs here in the United States. I went to AWP in 2017 when they came to DC, and I really enjoyed it. I basically just did I think I did the Saturday pass, and I saw Roxane Gay, I saw Celeste Ng, I saw a few other panels about people who were talking about what it was like to be a writer. Like they talked about their writing book deals. Some people talked about, you know, getting published in short stories. Sorry, my voice is cracking again. But on the whole, it was just a really great day to go hang out with other writers, see all the other famous writers, and hear about their experiences about writing and getting published. And I would say that I would love to do some more things like that and maybe record them for this channel. Living in the DC area, you do have sort of a advantage that maybe some other people who are in smaller towns don't have, which is this is a very literate, very active literary community area. So there are always events going on. If it's not somebody doing a book reading or somebody having a book festival, there's conferences, there's um, author events, there's all kinds of stuff. So it, I'm a little spoiled living around here, and really happy and really want to maybe show some more of that. So that's kind of on the agenda for 2026. I also think that eventually I would like to add a little zhuzh to the channel, maybe get an intro going and something like that. My video skills are still pretty basic, so this is a basic channel. I've said before that this is really a channel where that comes second to the writing. The writing has to come first, and then my video editing skills will try and get better. But till that time, I don't mind just sitting here yapping and about writing and publishing and my thoughts on that. The one thing I've realized is that there have been moments where I've kind of felt like, not necessarily here on YouTube, but even in general, where I felt like, oh, so and so is much further than me, or so and so is quote unquote behind me. And what I've realized being on AuthorTube is that everybody kind of feels like that. Everybody kind of feels like, oh, I should have 8 books published by now. I should have 20 stories published by now. And the truth is that everybody's journey is unique, and everybody's journey doesn't necessarily end with my book got published, and so that's it. That's the end of my writing career. You will keep moving forward, and you're going to keep striving for that next thing, whatever it is, because writing is kind of an ongoing career. It's not really something that stops just because you get published, just because maybe you get a bunch of money or whatever it happens to be from your writing. It really is an ongoing, you finish one project, you start another project. And one thing, watching other people who are on AuthorTube, that has really taught me that everybody kind of feels like, we're all just keep striving for that next thing. And there is no real end. And that is a really daunting thing. But it's also kind of comforting in that you're not behind. You're not on any sort of timetable. The one thing about being a writer is that nobody is demanding your book. Nobody is demanding that you write or publish. You really do these things because you want to do them. I'm writing this novel, and I'm trying to add more words to it and revise it because I believe in this work and I want it to be published. So I want to get it to the best place it can be. I'm submitting my short stories and my essays because I want them to be published. I want them to be out in the world. And that doesn't happen by magic. That happens because I've dedicated myself to trying to do that. And I think just being on AuthorTube has kind of solidified for me that this is something that I want to pursue and keep pursuing. And I need to let go of this idea that, okay, well, once I finish this novel, then I'll be a real writer. And okay, once I get this story published, in this big magazine, then I'll really be a writer. And the truth is that there is no magic bullet. There is no, once I do this, then I will feel this. It is just the work. That is the work that you need to do. And I already knew this in the back of my head, especially since I have been published. But there's something to seeing it on video and hearing other people talk about it that reinforces to me that this is how it is. That this is, yes, there are probably different levels of it. James Patterson probably has a very different writing life than me, but even he, I think, probably still feels like, well, I need to do this thing next, and I need to do this thing next, and I need to do this thing next. And then then I'll be there, you know. And the truth is that there is no there, you know, there is none of that. It's just the next project. I'm going to finish this novel and I'm going to get it to the best of my ability. I'm going to mail it out and try and get an agent. And while that's happening, I'm going to start another novel, or I'm going to start another short story. Heck, I already have a half finished short story that I'm going to work on as soon as I finish up this revision. This revision is probably number one for the next few months. But I have other ideas. And they're just waiting for their turn to come out of my head and down onto the paper or onto the computer screen. And then after that, I'll work on something else, and I'll work on something else. And there is no, I'm finished. There is no done. There is just, I've completed it, and I'm going to move on to the next one. I know somebody said something once that, like, you never stop revising. You only just it you never, I can't remember it now. It's something about, like, you're never done revising. You just eventually decide that, you know, it's good enough to be published, and then you try and mail it out, and if it gets accepted, then you just don't revise it, you know, or something like that. I can't remember now. If somebody remembers that saying, please put it down in the comments. But yeah, so being on YouTube for the past year has really just helped me, you know, make peace with the fact that, like, I'm never going to be done. I'm always going to keep striving for the next thing. It's also, you know, it's interesting to watch other writers and their process and how they're attempting their work. It's always, I would say inspiring, but comforting is probably the best word. Comforting, that we're all kind of like, oh my God, I have so much work to do. And not hitting targets when you want to, or messing up. Oh my gosh, I should say, I sent out a bunch of those stories, and one of those stories, I had already sent it out earlier this year, but I was, you know, finding some new places to send it out to. Why did I find a spelling mistake on the first page? I was mortified. And it was one of those spelling mistakes that, like, spell check doesn't get. And I said, oh, no wonder this has been rejected. There's a glaring error on the first page. So there's nothing I can do about that. It happened, but I fixed it for the new submissions that I sent out. And so hopefully that will only be the mistake. That was the only mistake in there, and I didn't catch any of the other ones. I mean, there aren't any other ones that I didn't catch before, you know, but rookie mistake. But at least I caught it. At least I caught it before it went out to, say, like 20 places, you know, and it had only been out in like 2. So I was like, okay, all right. Yeah, at least there's that. Yeah. But yeah, so I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking with me for a year. If you've been with me for a year, if you're just finding me, consider subscribing, and, you know, leave a comment congratulating me on my first year on AuthorTube. And yeah, we'll come back in November. We'll talk about where I'm at with the novel. Did I make it to 10K, or do I have more work to do in November? I think it's probably going to be close, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Other than that, happy writing. I hope you all are having a wonderful time. Be safe out there, and I will see you all on the next video.